What's up, y'all? This is RVS.
This is ROD, aka Rated R.
And we are the We Coming For You cast. And we talk about pro wrestling from a black dude's perspective. Tell them what they can expect on this here podcast.
Oh, we gonna give you all the raw and dirty and everything black from AEW, WWE, Impact Wrestling, and any other wrestling in between. If you want your wrestling unfiltered, uncensored, and you want it raw, you need to subscribe to the We Coming For You cast.
Right here on SOLC Network.
Man, you got it?
Hey, we back. Y'all, I mean, I appreciate everybody listening to the last episode. We starting a new channel on its own. It's the little engine that could, but we building it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everything sprouts from the root, man. So hey, we're trying to get the roots out there. You already know.
So look, we got to go right into this Manchester United situation. I got a man Double D on Stefan Benu. What you got, man? What is your, because B's got a party going on in the background on the lawn.
Oh man. I already know he's on cloud 109 after this opening weekend of English Premier League football. Welcome to the 2022-23 season. There's a lot of stuff going on this weekend that is somewhat surprising, but we'll start with Man U. Man U, I think this is a ongoing problem that's just coming to a head. I don't think this is anything new. I think this has been happening for the last 3-4 years.
I would say maybe 5, man.
I will go 7.
Yeah, 14. Yeah, that was last time we had success.
Yeah,
it was that long ago, man. I think this has been an ongoing issue, and it really hit me. The theme of what's happening is the Glazers really don't care. They don't care about this team, and I think this weekend was that eye opener for me that until they're gone, nothing's going to change.
Interesting.
So I'm gonna say it like that. I'm not even gonna talk about the players themselves, because the players are the ultimate reason, but it comes from the top, and I think they don't care. It's just about it's a cash cow. So hey man, we lost 2-1, but hey, did you see we got a sellout? People had their jerseys on. We got revenue from this, that, and the third. So I mean, pretty successful little score to us. Matter of fact, we're gonna use some of that money to then pay Julio Jones to come play for the Buccaneers, because that's what we really care about.
Hey, no, that's real. Hey, look, I'm so much against the Glazers. I had a full Man U mural made in my my man cave here to the left, but it was not from them. I literally had somebody go out and literally it's when y'all come through, you'll see, like, I literally had it made by somebody else just to not go ahead and give them any bread going towards them. That's how much I'm against it.
Man,
and that's what the story is, man.
Well, interesting, fellas.
Here we go.
B, hold on 1 second too, Brandon. And that's before we even break down how atrocious it looks on the field, which I would love to hear what your take is on this immediately.
Man, listen, it's a tough situation. You gentlemen are very classy. So I have a lot of respect for you guys. The way you articulate this, what I see is a dumpster fire. I mean, in my mind, the sky is falling. The Manchester mystique, the last minute win, it's over. Officially, stick a fork in it. It's done. No debate. There used to be babble conversations from Daryl Frierson. No more. No more. Man, your club is in tethers. You're absolutely correct. From a business model perspective, hey, it's flying, it's rolling. Let the wheel spin. I see where you're going with that, and I think that's accurate. But what's happening on the pitch, the fan base, it's really over. You guys are a upper mid tier club.
I mean, this is the thing.
I can't disagree with you, man.
No, I can't disagree with them. But it's they've been waiting for this. People have been waiting for this. This is one of them things of like.
Oh, absolutely.
No, we the bad shit club.
Absolutely, they've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
I mean, 40 years old, have 4 kids, be out there looking bad. You know what I'm saying?
Their prayers have been.
But, oh man, look at Alicia. She didn't fell off. Like, okay, well, damn. I'm 45 years old. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna be looking the same. Like, I got to revamp. But wait till Alicia's daughter get of age.
Yeah,
No,
there
man.
you go. Because that's the thing. The truth is that as dark as it is, it can be redeemable. But the only thing that I'm really pessimistic about as far as having that renaissance is I think it is heavily linked to the presence of the Glazers. Like even with successful transfers, they're still there. So that kind of makes it a paradox to where, well, based off of that, will we ever actually have successful transfers? And that's where I don't think we ever will.
I mean, we just signed Rabiot. Me and you've been going back and forth on text here. We just signed Ravioli, as I'm naming him now. Just out of desperation. Just they ain't got no figures for it. They said like whatever y'all can pull up with amount of money, we'll let them go. Just whatever money you figure out that you can, whatever we'll figure it out later. We'll just send him. We'll talk about whatever figures is going to be afterwards.
Yes,
I mean, think about it though. You're absolutely right on your assessment of the Glazers. I mean, I wonder what the front office is thinking about. What is the real transfer plan? Is the manager going to get time and money? We've seen this movie several times. It's like a cheap D version, of a movie. One of those straight to DVD joints. That's what this looks like to me.
Right.
Well, this the thing is though that I look at it on a scale of nobody wants to come play for us. We do have the bread, but nobody wants to play for you. So it doesn't matter if you can splash the cash or whatever. Nobody's like, okay, that's cool. If I want to go give me a bag and go ahead and get some bread, we can go after that. That's the problem. So my whole thing is we have to go back to youth. We got to take a step back and take a step forward.
And they are kind of doing that. Man, I think with the transfer situation, what it is it's never cohesive because this is just thinking back a few years. We talked about this the other day, man. I think the linchpin for everything was that Europa final that we lost to Sevilla. I think that was before the 18-19 season that was coming up. I want to say summer of 2018, or was that 2019?
That was the
summer of 2019. Yeah, okay.
Summer of 2020. Summer of 2020.
No, I think it was 2019. That's when we played Sevilla.
Sevilla in the semis.
No, that was in the final. That's what I'm saying. That was before we got Sancho.
Because Inter Milan went to the final against Sevilla, and Sevilla won the whole thing.
That was another year. I'm talking about that time where we played Copenhagen in the semi.
That's the same one. No, we played Copenhagen in the quarters.
No, that was the semis because that was the year that they still didn't have the people coming into the stands.
What group of players are you referring to?
No, I'm telling you, it's Copenhagen quarters. It was Sevilla semis. Because we thought we was gonna play Lukaku in a gimme back game for the final.
Okay. So we lost in the semis.
We lost in the semis, Sevilla. Yep. Because it was 1-0. Remember, it was 1-0. It was 1-0.
No, we scored that game. I thought, or was it 1-0? No, it was 2-1. It was 2-1. It was 2-1 because we gave up because it was Lindelof that gave up both goals. He gave up the goal in the first half, and he gave up that header to the guy Luke De Jong. He gave up that header to him.
That was summer 2020.
Okay. It was before we had Sancho. It was before we got Sancho, and so the lineup, Brandon, it was that's when we had Martial up top, Rashford on the left, Greenwood on the right. In the midfield that game, they had Bruno Fernandes, Pogba, and Fred. And the issue that I'm talking about is in the quarters when we beat Copenhagen, we had Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, which is a whole another story talking about Wan-Bissaka. They were outside, but in the middle we had Maguire matched up with Eric Bailly. Okay. They gave Bailly a chance to play that quarterfinal, and I remember that was that game where Copenhagen's goalie went unconscious and he was making all kinds of saves, and we just could not score. And if Bailly was not playing, we would have lost that game without Bailly. And so he had the same lineup except for Bailly in the semi. Right, that's the only way we won that game because that goalie was playing out of his mind that game. But in the semis, he changed Bailly for Lindelof, and that was the weakness that ended up for the same lineup. But that was the weak point. So I say that to say that was to me that revealed that yes, center back is an issue, but a big part of it is because you're playing the wrong one. Not to say that one was necessarily better than the other, but just we're talking about fit. And that's what we're talking about with the transfer thing. It's not even about the overall individual level of the player. It's about how they fit in a overall team structure. And that revealed that to me because we saw the weaknesses were, okay, if they just stuck with Bailly and got a real defensive midfielder to go with Pogba and Bruno Fernandes, you know what? They're on the cusp of building something here. But that was the closest that we ever got to seeing an actual complete structure of a team, because then the next thing that we see, their next move was to get Donny van de Beek. Donny van de Beek, he's a good individual player, but he fit nothing that Man U needed, and he has the same profile of Bruno Fernandes. So it's like, that makes it where you can't play the two of them together. It's either one or the other, and Bruno Fernandes is better. Fast forward to what just happened this summer, and we got Christian Eriksen, a fine individual player, but once again, he is the same person as Bruno Fernandes and Donny van de Beek in a soccer perspective. So it's all right, so now we got three people that we cannot even play two of them together, really. We only could play one or the other, and that was our big signing for the summer. And the guy that could match up with him to play on the field, Paul Pogba, we let him go because of whatever contract negotiation status that was going on with that. And we did not get a player that fits his profile. But what we did do is after we lost Paul Pogba, we finally signed a defensive midfielder, which we hadn't done since we had gotten Matic like years ago. That was the last defensive midfielder that they got. So it's like, you're making these moves, but in a soccer perspective, you're not putting something together where these guys can play together. And that's what we're seeing now, because we're still using McFred. They're still starting. Like, that's ridiculous that you're still starting them. And it's like, you have to, because you don't have anyone on your roster that's really better than them.
Yeah, no, that's a real good point. Talking about the profile, how they don't fit. It's like a puzzle. The pieces have to fit in order for the engine to run at the optimal level. So, now I definitely agree with that. But I mean, with the brains at that sort of organization, and to Daryl's point, that's a cop out, man. But I expect that from you. You know, real glorious franchises, when you look across the spectrum.
Oh, here we go to the glorious franchises. Stop.
They always win.
Glorious
I mean,
franchises.
We go to the Lakers, the Yankees. They reload. You guys don't reload. That's the problem. And so I just wanted to, when you tried to slide that in there, I caught that. Hold
on. You mean glorious franchises? What do you mean?
But that's a new phenomenon, though, Brandon. That's a very new phenomenon, and that has been happening since the Glazers have been there. That's a very new phenomenon, because, and I really was like reflecting on that, to where this guy Martinez is literally the first defensive midfield player that they have signed since Nemanja Matic, who was old when he left Chelsea. Chelsea. So it's like, you had all these years to at least get somebody to see what they look like out there, but you didn't even get anybody that could play that position.
Yeah. You know,
I think we'll see Martinez. I hope we see Martinez in the CDM position. And just because Varane was dinged up. Like, I ended up finding out Varane was dinged up. So I'm thinking that they'll spot Varane there and move Martinez up.
Which would make a lot more sense, because that blew my mind that they even put him at center back when
and he's on the ball, though.
You got three other ones.
He covers the whole field, too. He covers the whole field.
It's not about him individually, though. It's not about his individual play. It's about how he fits in an overall team dynamic, and that's just not a good fit. Especially, like I was saying, I was going back to Iron Wan-Bissaka. Now, let's just think back about not even 2 years ago, like a year and a half ago, this guy was in the same rotation and question marks about, hey, who's going to be our England right back? Because we have a tough competition with Kyle Walker, Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He was mentioned in the same ilk as those players to start for England's team. Now, all of a sudden, they need to upgrade their right back. He's just not good enough. He has all these weaknesses. Like, wait, what? Like, how did that? It's just a magical criticism that's now on him that he's not good enough all of a sudden. And to make it seem like he's the scapegoat for why we can't seem to turn the corner. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah, I see that as well. I think, that media in Manchester, is, very similar to like that New York press, man, where it's, it's continuous. And you see, even what you're describing, Luke Shaw went through that and overcame that and came back and actually played really, really well on the pitch.
They were on his neck, though. They were on his neck for a while.
But I want to know where you predict Manchester United finishing, because, Daryl is in a alternative universe as usual.
Well,
No,
today
I said 6 to 7.
Today, with this, and that's what we were going back and forth with this Rabiot signing, right? So for me, I like the addition of the Frenchman. I think is Adrien Rabiot. I think that's his name.
Mhm.
As a profile, what I was referring to him as, and it's funny too, because I guess if you broke it down in other dynamics, I call him Paul Pogba light, right? So he just isn't quite the superstar Pogba is, but they have the same like play style and player profile, which obviously we were lacking, not just yesterday, because you saw it all last year after he was injured. You saw the difference that his absence made. And also going back to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you saw a direct correlation with a tremendous slump that United went through and the all of a sudden decision to put Dalot over Wan-Bissaka. But that's a whole other issue. So like with that in mind, with Rabiot being there and also feeling like if they put Martinez at defensive midfielder, and I still do have faith in Bruno Fernandes, I actually could see top 6 now is top 6 now I would say is something that we should be, as a team, we should be confident that we should be getting. Like we should be disappointed without top 6.
Yeah, look, I'm going to switch gears here because Bees really wanted to shit on our team and everything. I'm just saying Chelsea's in trouble too, but in a different way. In a different way, though. In a different way. I think Chelsea has too many low card spades. They got a 2 of spades, 3 of spades, a 4 of spades, and a 5 of spades. But they don't have a joker. They don't have a king of spades. They don't have an ace of spades. Yeah. They're going to win you some books. But will they win you the game?
I fully agree with that.
And that's more than what we got. I'm just saying.
Right.
But look, full disclosure, like it's more than what we have. But I'm just saying that there's some low books. You gotta get some jacks to walk around Chelsea.
Yeah.
Go ahead, my brother.
I would agree with that with Chelsea. I think, and also, but I kind of saw that last year with the way that it's just kind of an identity thing because it's a lot of depth, and it's good to have versatile depth, but it seems like it throws off the chemistry because 2 players that, for instance, these are guys that just came to mind, Pulisic, because I think about him a lot as an American, but also I think Ziyech, right? So those 2, they are actually both Ten Hag type players. They both fit the profile of what he likes on the wing, what he had at Amsterdam. Ziyech, of course, played at Amsterdam. And but that's part of a specific type of attack that Chelsea doesn't even use, right? Mm-hmm. And then you could also say the same thing applies to Timo Werner and to a degree Kyle Havertz. Kyle Havertz is in a little more favorable position, but Timo Werner, the strategy that they had at RB Leipzig, that's not what they're using at Chelsea, and that was more so a type of strategy that fit his profile a little more. That same like Atletico Madrid type play where he plays forward, but his job is mainly just to be like that presser. Right. Chelsea really doesn't use that. You look at Lukaku. His player profile didn't really fit what Tuchel wanted to do. Whereas if you would have put Lukaku in with wingers Ziyech and Pulisic, you see a whole different story. Yeah. But that means you have to change the entire way you play, which Tuchel wasn't. He didn't want to do that. So that's what it's a lot of different pieces, but none of them are in the system that works for them.
I see a lot of that. I definitely do, man. Daryl, I'm not gonna even respond to Daryl, man. That's, the guy tries to set rabbit hole traps, but I'll tell you what my eye test is seeing, man. Number one, I'm not I don't feel the Premier League excitement like I used to in the late '90s, in the early 2000s. I don't want to turn into old man Thigpen and be the yesteryear guy, but this new crop, this young talent that's coming through, they don't have it, and that's what the Premier League used to be full of. It, last minute drama, playing the ball over the top, quality service going into target men.
Right.
A lot of the other leagues have influenced how the game is played, but for Chelsea, man, I agree, man. We don't have the right player mix either, and so that's kind of the thing that we have in common with Manchester United. But the advantage we have over you guys is I really believe in our manager. He demands a certain level of respect. Tactically, I think he's a few steps ahead. How he handles the media, how he handles the pressure, because he's dealing with similar level of pressure in London, and he controls the press conferences in a different way. But I don't see the players having that depth of going to another level, going to another gear, to really challenge in for anything. And so, we want to make money. We got a new ownership group. I was telling D in our first episode, Newcastle United's their ownership group actually is impacting the financial business of our American owners. So, talk about pieces fitting together, man. All of this stuff is convoluted and kind of works together and against each other. But I think our scouting, especially with the new ownership group, the next window is going to tell you where Chelsea's at. And I'm just trying to ride this wave. Continue to beat and be above you guys in the table. Go ahead.
Well, and one thing too, and this is just being like this is really just being like a neutral pundit with it. It's actually two advantages that Chelsea has. One of them even more prominent. Like the Tuchel thing, I don't know much about Ten Hag, so I can agree with that. But particularly how he handles the media. But the biggest advantage that Chelsea has over Manchester United is the solidity of the back line and the solidity of the overall back line and midfield combination. That's because their issue for identity is all offensive.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's all about the trying to get attack that it's a cohesive thing to where I can mix and match guys and we still play the same way. Because right now Chelsea's not there from an offensive standpoint, but it's okay because the solidity that Chelsea has from a backline and midfield perspective allows that kind of, I guess, experimentation, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, no.
So that's a huge advantage.
I would definitely agree with that. Yeah, that's accurate. What you got, D? What are you thinking about Chelsea, man?
No, Chelsea. I got a text from my other boy Brandon. He was very disturbed with the last episode. I'm going to read it verbatim.
Real quick. Let me say this too. Let me say this real fast too, because I want to see what you think about this, Brandon. But I think more than anything, like Chelsea's real issue this season is going to be Spurs and Arsenal. I think that's going to be like huge to really be in front of them.
The Arsenal fan team.
Yeah, they both do look good and dangerous. Yeah,
and they have a clear-cut identity.
So he says, what player from Chelsea would you really want over any player in our starting 11 on Arsenal? No hate.
So let me back up. He's an Arsenal fan and he wants to know who on Chelsea would you take?
Was like, he thinks that they're going to go above Chelsea because me and him had agreed on our top four, and he literally was saying, and we really talked about it. Saliba, their pickup that was from Marseille that comes in. A couple of the players they got Zinchenko. Their back four is okay.
But that's easy.
What player in their 11 would you want
that's
over?
Easy. Koulibaly. I mean, he's a world-class defender. Simple, plain simple.
That was the same way I was going with that. Yeah, same direction.
Or
even Reece James, even or Reece James.
He said Reece James. He said
I don't know about that Reece James now.
He's a baller, bro.
I'm not so. I'll take Zinchenko.
But they have Saka. They do have Saka though, so they really wouldn't need Reece James.
That's true. But yeah, that's
kind of
that's his response to you, B. He said everything was great, but you was real flagrant with the idea that that Chelsea was
Hey,
going to
man,
finish ahead of Arsenal.
it's only one club in London, man. You know, hey, it ain't personal. Business.
I don't know though, man. I don't know because I think that Arteta. I like how he did it too because he's done it the hard way. You know what I'm saying? Like he's built it and stayed patient with his build, and now we're seeing the fruits starting to come, man.
Years ago in my mind. He should have been fired 2 years ago.
Bro, his seat was sizzling, dog. That dude's his hindquarters were on fire. Like, ooh, man.
And to a certain extent, that's a certain amount of his ownership not watching as much. Like it's like him having like a Glazer type ownership, them not watching, kept him alive. Like it's like, oh, dang, we do got a team over there. And
I think he's still on the hot seat though. I mean, you know, it could get ugly before Christmas. It could.
Oh, you saying if they're not top 4 potential, you think it's over?
Yeah, if they're not competing, because I don't think he has much more time. He coming, like you're saying, he's on the back end of his time window.
Because I can
a quick question with him.
Coaches too, like we got all these young players that got built up. You was the one to get me to the next level. It's like you know,
he's been implementing the system for 4 years now. You know what I mean?
Right. I think so. A quick question with him as well. Do you think that the Aubameyang situation, does that make him look like a stronger coach, or does that maybe make him look like less of a player coach or tactician? Because Aubameyang is performing decent, you know, for Barcelona, and they were having that.
Well, they trying to sell him to Chelsea.
Yeah, and I think we should.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll roll the dice, like you're saying. You're right, bro. That could be a big joker for us. I mean, because wherever he goes, he scores goals. You know,
and you don't need him to do a lot. He doesn't have to do a lot with Chelsea,
right?
He even at his age, front and do his thing.
Yeah, even at his age, I'll take that. Yeah.
I could see him being a Tuchel style player because I could see what they would do there is it would be a trio up top of Mount, and Havertz doing something like that.
That's where Aubameyang made his name, was at Dortmund with Tuchel. So yeah, that's gonna be easy clip. Same system.
Yeah. And you know what though? Tuchel's hot. His seat is hot because of money. Chelsea spends a lot of money, and it's like if we spending this money, man, we expect something back. You know,
right.
And you gave us a Champions League title, which is why you're still here. You know what I mean? But
I give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, with the whole Russian ownership group changing, that's what screwed up this window. Because you're right, the back line and the defensive midfield is pretty solid. You just need to figure out how to make the upfront click. And you thought Lukaku, I'm surprised they didn't give him more service, man. A lot of playing the ball on the floor. You don't see that as much in the Premier League anymore. People just whipping balls into the box, playing the ball in the dangerous areas. I want to see more of that. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah. And then you know what? That's a good point. I think because everything is so much of a copycat thing, and it seems like what the big craze is now is trying to figure out some kind of a new innovative way to have the creation come from your outside backs. I've never understood the fascination with that. I think it's a little misleading because like this weekend, the way that City played, how they had Cancelo and Kyle Walker kind of pinching in instead of doing overlap.
Yeah.
They raved and talked about that for a long time, and I'm like, well, I mean, it's not really that big of a deal, is it? You know what I mean? It's like it actually is. It's a little smarter because I never understood that overlap thing because when you do that with your outside backs, you're taking them further away from your defensive third, which is really where you want your defenders to be, you know, positioned for solidity. So like that makes more sense to have them in the middle because they're both excellent passers and you can distribute from there. But when we lose the ball, my sprint back defensively is shorter.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, man. But I think where the game is changing is a lot of people are wanting the goalkeeper to play the ball out from the back.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's what makes me unnerved, man, because Mendy is not one of those type of keepers. Now, City, Liverpool, they have that kind of keeper.
Yeah, because they have keepers that they can do free kicks if you want them to. Like like they're like just a little bit more footy in general. Like the head's not that way either.
Comfortable with the ball at their feet, playing the ball away from pressure, and being that pressure release valve. That's where City shines, and where you're talking about. That's why the wingers can, pinch in, is because they always got their release valve back to the goalkeeper, who they have confidence in can play with the ball at his feet.
Right.
And I got
So
I think
I'm saying, what was one of y'all surprise teams this weekend?
for me, let me go ahead and wrap while he's stepping away.
Yeah.
For me, I would say, yeah, I'm gonna say it's a surprise. I'll say that the Liverpool Fulham game, I'll say that was surprising. Not that I'm overly harsh on Liverpool, but I just felt that, because we're talking about kind of the player profile thing, because we were talking about this earlier too. I think that for me, what stood out the most with Liverpool that weekend was why he chose the midfield trio that he did, and why specifically Naby Keita wasn't even on the bench. Because when I saw him start that lineup with Fabinho, Henderson, and Alcantara, I thought it was a little questionable, because Henderson and Fabinho are so similar.
Yeah.
Because neither one of them are the most mobile, you know what I mean? But their physical presence, like where they are. Alcantara, he's more versatile and he's more mobile, and he's actually an excellent passer. So I got that one, but I was like, I don't see that one midfielder that has that extra burst, that sizzle, that in your face, that quickness and hard running. And I didn't see that. And like I said, Naby Keita fits that profile. And I just recently saw today they were trying to get rid of him even. I don't like that. I don't think that that's going in the right direction. They're going to need that hard running midfielder as well, because what's his name? Oh man, I can't think of it. Milner. Milner was like that, but I think Father Time is going to prohibit him from really fulfilling that role. So I think that if they don't recognize the fact that if not Naby Keita, somebody similar to that is necessary week in and week out to balance their team, I think they might have a more difficult season this year.
Yeah.
So we talked about it. Man City, are they just running away with this? Is this just we got an email from someone saying that we were all wrong about Haaland early.
No,
they're wrong about him. What were they saying? Oh, what were y'all saying about? I didn't see what the
it was really big. It was really big. It was.
I gotta eat my words, man. I only caught one preseason game. He was not doing the business, so I thought he could potentially be a bust. I start throwing that bust word around, Well,
I mean, that's always fair. I mean, I don't think that's like maybe it was early, but I don't think it was unfair to say, because it's always going to be a question mark if he's going to fit.
Right, we talked about him in the Bundesliga really living off of service. When you're talking about like that sizzle from the midfield, that's what I'm talking about up top, like taking on the defenders.
Yeah.
We didn't see much of that, but no, I got to eat those words, man. I tip my hat. I saw some very, very smart runs. I can already see that Manchester City influence. He looked like Sergio Aguero running into space, but strong and
twice his size.
Yeah.
No, it's scary to see him there. And we were
funny though, because it makes me think that he was playing lane like he was hurt for so long. Remember, he was like, "Oh man, I'm hurt, yo."
Yeah.
Oh, y'all in Europa? Oh, you know what? I'm out with an injury. Y'all playing Cologne? Oh, I'm out with an injury. Oh, we playing Bayern. I'm back. I'm back.
Never mind the fact that I'm trying to get out of here next summer. Never mind that fact. Let's not even think about that.
I'm back.
The other thing about him, I didn't know his daddy played for Manchester City. So
that was the big draw.
The stars aligned on that. Yeah.
I think one thing with City, and Daryl and I were speaking about this real time, so it's not necessarily something.
Oh, we lost him.
We lost him. Oh, dang, we lost him. He'll jump back in, but man, this weekend was. I mean, it was really more Manchester United's. People could go ahead and throw water on the grave, throw a little bit of dirt on the soil. It's all good. It's gonna be real bad in the street though. But no, this is the thing though. It's like, it's cool, but y'all don't want us to ever come back. Like, you know the wrath like, it's cool, y'all dancing.
Hey man, it would only get better. It would
y'all
only
think our
get better
fans
to
are
see
horrible
y'all
now?
get relegated, man. That's the next
No,
domino
that's the
for y'all
only
to
way
get
that'd be
relegated.
great. If we look, the thing, if we when we come back, it's going to be even worse. Our fan base is going to be even more ravaging.
Man,
It's like when the Dallas Cowboys end back going back to Super Bowl back in the 90s after they hadn't been in the 70s. Those are the worst fans ever with them Dallas Cowboys fans.
You know, that's really funny you bring that up. I mean, Daryl, I could see this turning into a situation where we're old and completely gray, and your team is just hovering in the Premier League. I'm going to speak that into existence.
No, we're not gonna do
You may not ever see
that's not true. It's
the
too
top
much
four
money.
again.
They'll cheat. They'll cheat for us to make sure we stay up. There's too much money.
It's like the Titanic, baby. It's going down.
It's way too much money involved. Because you're basically saying, like, you know what? We're going to crap on all the money that we have for EPL because now nobody's going to watch your package.
Everybody loves a good British film where it ends in complete destruction. You know what I'm saying?
But they don't like the money with that destruction.
I don't know.
I will tell you this: the Premier League will not be the same if Manchester United's not there, money-wise. The money will plummet.
I don't know, man.
I'm talking about a 30% to 40% decrease in revenue.
It could turn into like a Yankees Mets situation where it's really a big brother step brother situation. You know what I could see that.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's cool. But I'm saying that the whole thing is, y'all can have y'all up on us now. But please believe we will be all right.
My apologies, Steve. My apologies. I had some technical difficulties with the sun.
You got any last thoughts on the first weekend of the league this year?
What is it?
I said your thoughts overall from the first weekend of games.
My first thoughts are that City, it's unfair. You know, barring any kind of catastrophic injury, we already know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Liverpool, that's kind of going to be the only drama I really see is if they revert, which I don't really see that happening. I think they're going to bounce back, and they have so much offensive firepower anyway that they'll be able to see it out. And also, just I think the last thought would be parity. I think we're going to see like a really good run from some of the middle level teams to where it makes it at least where the top teams can't just sprint away with it very quickly.
Yeah, because B said on the last episode he feels football has decreased. I disagree.
I think the quality of the football, like I was talking about, that late 90s, early 2000 era versus what we see now, man, it's day and night to my eye test. You know,
I got you. I think it's a parity thing. I think it's a parity thing, though. I think maybe back then the good teams were so much better that it showcased some of the more elite skills to where now, you know what I mean, you might run up on Bournemouth or something like that and they might break you down. So it's a different thing, I think, to where maybe it turns it more into a scrum to where the bigger teams don't stand out as being a lot more sophisticated. Maybe. I don't know.
Interesting. Hey, man, the other thing that I saw, you know, over the first week of games, the substitutions, those 5 subs.
I don't like it.
He said he don't like it.
You don't like it. I do like it. I do like it.
I don't like it.
I saw a lot more energy. I saw talking about different player profiles and combination sets, man. Bringing out a lot of offensive talent all together, man, and seeing the pickup in the offensive play. I like that. You know,
I feel like it breaks up the flow of the game too much to where not even those guys aren't out there, but man, it's like it changes the entire complexion of both teams to where they're playing an entirely different way mid-game, and so they're trying to figure it out on the fly more so. So there's no real cohesion from start to finish. Plus, and also, I'll have to actually check around see if we can find that stat. But a lot of times, man, with that 3 sub thing, what we see is a tightly contested game and then a crazy finish because now fatigue is setting in. Now we're going to see who really is ready. Whereas with the 5 subs, you don't get that same, that same type thing.
It's definitely a different feeling, but that's what I mean by not turning into old man Thigpen and accepting these new things in this new game. I'm trying to be very careful with that.
Yeah.
Well, man, we're gonna wrap up another one. We're gonna be back. We'll be back next week. Recapping it next weekend. We're gonna keep building the channel even more. Little quick joints like this.
Yeah.
Hey,
next time I'll try to be home, man, so I can not be in the sun and get that overheat notice.
Yeah, we all been there.
And your phone was overheating though, sitting there, son.
Yeah. That's why I was all glistening, man. That's why it was kicking out there, bro.
Well, no, we next episode we have to do a full episode talking about this World Cup, man.
Yeah.
At some point,
I'm curious to see how that's going to affect club football. Is how that World Cup's going to affect it, because it's a weird dynamic.
I'm looking at it,
it's in the middle.
None of our players.
Oh, we lost D.
Playing the World Cup is a club, because our players will be playing in the World Cup, so we'll be okay.
No world class players on that.
No, we'll let y'all get injured. It's like the episode of The Simpsons where Homer's boxing a dude to let him tire himself out and just push you down. But thank y'all for listening as always. Just kicking it. We out.
All right. Yeah, fellas, man, appreciate the invite, man. Sorry about that, though. Like I said, I didn't know that was about to happen.
I mean, you always welcome. It's all good, G. No problem.
Yeah, man. Man, it was a trip though. That opening weekend. I think I'm about to see a lot of bread get spent by a lot of teams. You know what I mean? That emergency Rabio, they just did that. We're about to see that a lot, man. People doing that last minute shopping.
They're gonna have to spend that bread, man. Hell yeah. Hey man, I'm gonna roll out, get back to work. Have a good one, man.
Yes, indeed, bro. Good seeing you, man.